Yeah, because I am on my longer time frames, those are trades that I I don't want to spend too much time maintaining, but I think that they'll be good plays. So, with the QCOM one, we have until October, and it's looking like, we should trade to 175, if not closer to 180, pretty soon here on QCOM. Had a big double bottom bounce from 156. And now we're testing this gap right now at the 169. But I actually saw it on the Thanos strat, on the hourly. Uh, excuse me. Saw it running up on the Thanos strat. Looked at it on the daily. Um, Looked at a more supply and demand strategy versus trading the moving averages on the daily. But overall, using Thanos on the 1 hour to slant my way in. I think on the daily we should go back and test the 34 EMA again. You know, I imagine it's gonna take a few days, and in those few days, the 34 EMA should move down closer to 175. And if it moves down closer to 175 and we hit that, then we're golden. I gotcha.
Did you
Did
get
you
the
uh did you get the same contract as me? Okay, cool. We should see some good upside on that. Here we go. Meta almost bounced back to all-time highs. I know you were talking about Apple. Apple still needs to get over about 225 to push higher. Um, Meta's almost near all-time highs. Microsoft is still down quite a bit from all-time highs. Chipotle finally dumped quite a bit. It had uh, it had the biggest stock split in history for any stock. Uh, yeah, 50 to 1 stock split. So what that means is, uh, for every one share you had of Chipotle, um, you got 50 shares. So the actual price of Chipotle, which I'll price out right now, is really $2,584 a share. I want to say it got to like it got to like 4,000, so that's why they did that stock split, and they did the biggest stock split in history. Um, and they just had the most volume ever on today's close of the market. They did 102 million in volume. And the average volume for the last 30 days, it shows it right here, is 21.4 million. So they did 5 times their average volume today. And the last time that they had volume that was higher than this was back April 22nd, um, in the year 2020. So it was 2 days after 420 in 2020. Well, I will say the burritos have sucked worse and worse the last time that I tried them. Um, so I do think the quality of Chipotle is going down, but in a charts in a charts and TA perspective, you know, when you see volume that's more volume than in 4 years, um, then then that gets you curious. So what I would personally do and I'm going to do is start to look for entries kind of like I did on QCon today. Start to look for entries on the 1 hour and then trade my way up from the 1 hour to the 4 hour to the daily. And Starbucks Ed 2484 said Starbucks just hired Chipotle CEO. So as folks doing over here. Well, look at that. Very interesting. I'm good. So S Bucks and Fody's right across the room.
I'm right here. So
So
tell you guys
hold on
something.
one sec. So Starbucks volume and Chipotle volume. It's my left and right over here. So my buying, because this is my normal setup on the left. My bullish candles or my buying candles are the light blue, and my red candles or the bearish candles are my white ones, both for volume and the chart. So Starbucks got um, way more than 5 times the average volume. They did 155 million in volume today. The average volume for the last 30 days is 17 million a day. So like 7 times more volume, 8 times more volume. And it was in buying pressure volume, whereas Chipotle was a lot more selling pressure volume today in terms of volume. Interesting stuff. So we'll see how these two stocks play out the next day. Do you, do you want me to, I can answer?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and answer. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so with that answer, so when you see the bars on the volume indicator and they're red, like over here on the right side of my chart, for Chipotle, it means selling of shares. So um, in this 5 minute segment of volume, it means that more shares were sold than were bought. Same thing with this 5 minute segment, same thing with this 5 minute segment. And then when you see the green bars, it means that volume has uh, it means that volume was mainly buying pressure or buying pressure. Sorry. So in this 5 minute candle, it's mainly buying pressure. In this 5 minute candle, it's mainly buying pressure. And then the next three is selling pressure. The next three is buying pressure. And then over here on Starbucks on the left side, in this 5 minute candle, it was buying pressure was the most volume, and then selling pressure, buying, and so on. But you can see a lot more bullish and buying candles on the left side than over here on the right side.
All right, guys. So let's talk about the obvious. All right. We got honey dicked last night. We're sitting around waiting for 2 hours. It seems like for Elon and Trump to talk, and they don't mention crypto once. Absolutely diabolical. Me and Arthur fell asleep halfway through the thing. Let's be real. No, we really did. But yeah, let's talk about let's start with meme coins right now. Who knows what pump.fun is? Cool. Yeah, so pump.fun, man. Yesterday there were 16,000 meme coins launched on pump.fun. 6,000 of those meme coins were launched while Elon and Trump were talking. Guys, right now PvP is in it. I mean, meme coins are in an extremely risky area. So I would be super careful when degenning. I got shafted today with Pillsbury or Pillsbury. Yeah, the PvP is insane right now. It's kind of reminding me of kind of like a toppy situation in the meta. I What I do think though is that good narratives are going to stick and prosper. So I think from now on I'm going to stick to just good narratives. So example, the Nero, the Ginnin, Rizzo. Rizzo's been holding strong. Yep, honey dick for sure. But yeah, just make sure if you're going to get in meme coins, stick to the good narrative coins. But yeah. So who knows what polymarket is? I just stumbled across something so sick. I can't believe I didn't find this sooner.
What was it?
I'm just waiting for them to respond. Anyways, polymarket is so insane. It's pretty degenerate like, it's pretty gambling like, but it's a prediction marketplace. So, and mainly what people are yeah, it's basically gambling, dude. So, you could essentially bet on who wins the election, and people go into like a pot that either says Trump's winning or Kamala's winning. And when that event comes in time in life, whoever wins, your shares of like your vote increase and you cash that out, and then yeah, exactly. Kamala's like leading by a huge margin, which is insane. You could also, yeah. I mean, dude, it's not like real polls, okay? But it's not real polls, but it's it's then again, it's a majority of people that think she's gonna win, which is scary. Um, but yeah, I mean, you could predict on like certain tokens going up or down and stuff like that. But yeah, it's basically a voting marketplace. Yeah, it is essentially gambling, but it's pretty nuts. I think I'm gonna lose all my money in it. Yeah, I am. I get that a lot. Honestly, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, my future wife will never respect me, like I mentioned before. Oh man. Oh, I hate myself. But yeah, also another update. If you
That's literally funny.
Oh man. Uh Does anybody in here own Utes or D gods as NFTs? If so, we're up on them. Well, I am. From when I bought my unit, I'm up a couple $100, so I'm excited about that. Frank D Gods has been making some noise on Twitter and everything. I I sense a revival, so I'm excited about that. Dude, Art, can you let's talk about how the fucking UK UK. Okay, guys, I don't know if you know this yet, but UK. I think UK is responsible for the DDoS attack. Well, he's what do you call it? He's like he's a something for the EU, but he basically said if if any American posted on social media that's in the UK or this and that he was going to throw him in jail, then extradite him back into the country. So that makes me think like a bunch of people in the EU or maybe or whatever, who knows, agencies were trying to shut that down. I don't know why he was so hell-bent on that interview. He sent an email to Elon Musk basically saying, please, just irate, don't do this and that. There's, consequences, yada, yada, yada. Maybe you know more about the email. Why don't you talk to me about that, Arthur? Go.
You know, it was it was really just like a bunch of gibberish nonsense, honestly. Like I can pull it up for you guys and show you. But there was no actual they were basically saying don't break policy on anything that you guys talking about, but like without giving any specifications on like what they can't say. It was really just kind of nothing. Here's what it says, guys. And so I read this letter last night, and nowhere in the entire letter does it say anything in specific at all. It just says, "Don't break our policy with the EU with posting this letter. A third of your audience is from the EU, and that's basically it." So I don't know. I don't know why they can't just leave this guy alone and just have like fair vote and just see who wins. Just have a fair vote. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. What? Hold on. What? I had to check a chart real quick. Dude, getting in, huh? No. Are you still on the? What's up?
Go on camera on the street.
Gotcha. Do you just want to hop in?
Yeah, I'm hopping in.
Let's just do that, dude.
Guys, my MacBook exploded again.
Somebody use that meme money and get a new one, pal.
Gotta buy a fucking new one now. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what else is going on in the meme world, pal?
Yeah, guys. Honestly, on a real note, you really need to be paying attention to runes. I've been repeating runes probably fucking. I'm sorry for my language. 9, 10 times, in the past, and Guys, probably the top 5 moon coin runes right now are up like 70 to 100%. With like all this PvP on Solana, all this like
What's the runes? Can you give us a quick rundown?
Yeah, let me explain runes. Basically, what runes are meme coins on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin network. Well, runes is kind of like its own network, but it exists on Bitcoin. That's the important thing. But yeah, it's super simple. They're super simple to understand, super easy to buy. We've gone over runes on past lives, how to buy them and everything, but I would not sleep on those. They were heavily discounted 2 weeks ago, and now they're just starting to run again. Our SIC is a super popular rune protocol, which they kind of were like the forefront of everything. They're teasing season 2 now. That token itself, if you bought that call that I made in the past, it's up 100% right now. It skyrocketed 100% last night when they announced their season 2. When they did that airdrop, it made people a lot of money. If you bought that NFT, you bought an NFT and then they dropped you the runes. But a couple runes that I like off the top of my head that I think you guys should look at, and you should really write this down, is RSIC, $1 billion cat, and if you want the OG one, it's called Fuhu. ZZZ.Fuhu. But $1 billion cat, I'm looking to go in and pick some up. It's still pretty down from its all-time highs, but yeah, runes. If you want to know more about runes, shoot me a DM, or we could do a little live session and we could go further into that.
More stuff on the stock side. CPI comes out this week. They're expecting cuts. I'm sorry. They're expecting inflation to drop down more, supposedly, even though I'm not really seeing that. And they are also expecting more rate cuts at a higher level. They didn't do any rate cuts like they thought they were going to last time. Market sold off quite a bit after that. But now the analysts are factoring in a big rate cut coming up. But we'll see what happens. We always warn you guys around that time because volatility comes that day. Usually that day comes with, big movements to the upside, big movements to the downside, and then a trend after that follows.
Jackie, do you still have your Milady?
Hey, Blast. Jackie has a Remilio.
Ooh, you still got her? You still holding it?
She is.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Blast, what's up?
What up? What up? What up? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you good.
Yeah, with the stocks, man, with the equities, we just had the biggest 4-day rally of 2024. I think it was a beautiful opportunity if you see it fit. Like when we drop in exuberance selling, people like to have it as an opportunity. They just put the money to work. That was one of the tips that I got from one of the guys that showed me the markets. Said, hey, when you have a downtrend, SPY, the markets, NASDAQ, you call it, they like to close the gaps from the bottom up. Meaning if you gap down, that way you see the opportunity to go and close it above. Now, when you have a downtrend and the candles are very close to each other, there's no gaps going down, you see it as a little bit of concern when you have long-term investments, right? Because if you see it like it's going and going right next to each other, it says, hey, everybody wants to sell. Everybody wants to get rid of their investment, capitulation, all that stuff that comes up, exuberant selling. When every trend ends in exuberance, every trend ends with excitement. That's why when we trade, for example, targets, like we trade with them today with SPY, we were looking at 540s on the SPY. We're just looking for that puncture that goes up and it completely sells off. And people go like, oh my God, why sells off? Well, that's the exuberance. That's the peak of just that impulse. I mean, it could go to 545, 550, who knows? But it's the same on the downtrend. So long story short, we have kind of like a trifecta right now. We have presidentials coming in on November. We have rate cuts that are due. And what I've learned, and this I learned from Cathie Wood, and Cathie Wood said, monetary policy do not interfere with fiscal policy. So right now, Fed is on a moment that says, hey, you need to cut right now, right? We need to start cutting, and we need to start now. So
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
So how should traders right now approach the upcoming situation? You mentioned something about a trifecta, right? We have rate cut speculation. We have elections coming up. What should traders expect? Do we expect some volatility? Should we expect to reduce the amount of trades? Like, how should a newer trader approach what's coming up?
I also have a question to piggyback off that too. Do you think
well, let him answer the first one.
Well, it goes
I think the volatility will expand. I think the bands are going to expand. You're right. We're going to find some volatility. And I suggest all of the new traders to go back in time and check when Biden was elected, when Trump was elected. You can go into midterm elections and see how it expands. I think it's going to expand, and we're going to have a lot of volatility. Why? Because they don't want to do any decisions of cut rates in November, not even close to it, not even October, November, So I rather cut it like 0.5 now than rather 0.25 now and 0.25 in November. You see what I mean? So that's why if you go right now into every newspaper, they're going to say they are betting on a bigger rate cut. Then you say, why bigger? Well, because they don't want to cut it in November. They want to do a big cut now and then don't do anything in November. And you guys decide what's our next president. And then in November, it's going to be a small cut, in January, right? So that's going to be a lot of volatility. They usually do shallow pullbacks right before a presidential. Shallow pullbacks is kind of like our double bottoms in the middle of an impulse. It goes up and Ichi kind of goes like pull up. That's a shallow pullback. The biggest shallow pullback I've seen was Biden, when Biden was elected. It's pretty cool. I'll send a picture on chat room so you guys can see it and I explain what I mean. And what was your question, Fody?
Yeah. So, I think it's pretty important too to take this into consideration. But I was reading something an hour ago. Do you think the yen carry trade is like, do you think it's far from over? Do you think it's irrelevant? Do you think we have, if there's more down the road with that's going to take an effect into the market?
Well, you need to consider where Japan is coming from. You know, Japan is what was once the biggest economy out there. You know, and especially in the East, Japan was huge. If you go back in the 1980s, 1990s, Japan was leading the pack, even leading more than Russia and China. So, and that smaller country, and I don't think they want to make it go away. The only issue that I see is that the problem in the East or the problem in Asia is that every country is at war. Like Russia, maybe Russia is with the West, you know, Ukraine and everybody trying to get into Russia. We got China that doesn't go along with anyone. We got the Koreas that they don't go along each other. Korea probably goes more with Japan. We got the Taiwan issue. And we have the issue with India and trying to invade in a way Australia, and New Zealand trying to say nobody comes here, please just go away.
Wait,
So if you think about
India's trying to invade Australia?
Say it again.
You say
no,
India's...
well, I'm saying like India is just pouring people into Australia because the Indians like Australia because the economy is really, really good. And that way, if you see it because of the treaty that we have, if an Indian goes and try to get the papers in Australia, will be able to go into England or Canada very easily. So that way they see the path to go, okay, if I want to have a better life, you want to get out of Mumbai, rather go to Perth, which nobody wants to work there because there's only snakes and spiders. And they get you there, you get the papers, you go to Canada, period. If you want to go to US, you just cross the border. So that's the issue that we have in Asia. But I think, yeah, the yen, the collapse there, I think it's going to recover because it's such a big economy. They live in the future, man. And I mean, I haven't been to there, but I think Arthur and I were already making numbers to see where we're going to go to Japan for sure. But I think that economy, the economy is huge. I think it's one of those things like what happened here. They just put money and did the instead of tightening, they just did the easing and just start printing and giving money to people.
Yeah,
I think that's what's going to happen in Japan. They're just going to have such a V-shaped recovery that nobody expected that. And pin that tweet, that's going to have a V-shaped recovery. Japan is huge, man.
Yeah.
Even though it's a small island, but it's huge.
Yeah.
A good opportunity. But yeah, like long story short, the cuts, remember monetary policy, which is all the Fed decisions, printing money, all that stuff, doesn't go along with fiscal policy, which is all presidential stuff and, Congress and even though we're going to have presidential elections, it's going to come with the government shutdown, then we don't have money, and then the budget. It's always the same dance at the end of the year. Remember, I have many friends that work in companies, government companies, and they always say, hey, every November, every December, we don't know if we're going to have a job in January, which sucks. And the budget gets cut.
Yeah.
Or they say we don't have any money. It's always the same dance, and they always put money on it.
Cool. Well, I appreciate the insight, Blast.
Yeah, man, it's a great opportunity. What you need to do right now, as a new trader, just put your moving averages. We use the 144 EMA for quicker buys, but the 200 SMA is the one that people are gonna use to make opportunities, to buy some opportunities. If you go and review what SPY did on the failing the 50 and going towards the 200, everybody bought it, man. Everybody bought it. And what's gonna happen if it falls again? They're gonna buy it again. So that way it creates that double bottom shapes that we see everywhere. That double bottom is like, oh my God, it's another opportunity. Let me get it. and that's why they do. And remember, they put money to work. So if they put $30 million position, they say, hey, what if I use 2 million, just a little higher, so it would be like a higher low, and make it work, so my 3 millions actually cashed out. They just put money to work with the other money. So it's just as simple as that. The thing is that we put our $1,000 to work, but they put millions, man. Million here, million there. That million will create the volatility for my 3 millions that I bought in the bottom. It's as simple as that. It's just a millionaire's job, you know.
Yeah. Cool. Yo, did you guys know that PayPal has a stable coin?
They do, man. I do have some Bitcoin and Ethereum on PayPal. The price is all out of whack.
You've been holding that for a long time.
Yeah. Like, dude, my Bitcoin is like 70% up. So imagine that. It's just like, it's a long-term thing. Every time you have, I have some cash and I just throw it into Bitcoin there. But yeah, they do have a stable coin, PayPal, which makes no difference to have it or not.
You know where most of their supply lays, like what network most of their supply lays on?
No, not really. I think it's just because it's called PayPal Cash. So it's probably there.
It's USD. It's on Solana.
Yeah. Oh, nice. There you go. So where we see Bitcoin, man, I think Bitcoin it's in a great spot, man. I think we had like a downtrend kind of momentum going, and over the weekend, it was bought out. I had like a few shorts in it, and all of a sudden it just completely wiped out to the upside, which is pretty cool. I think there was some sort of reaction to that attack. But I saw this morning a big candle on the 1 hour for Bitcoin, which include like I want to see that. Where do I want to see that? I want to see they're above the T line, and it was completely above, so it's kind of cool. I think they're in. Yep. So we might have something going towards November. And then I figured out you guys saw the Elon and Trump, and he was talking about very seldom about that. I mean, it was something that we were expecting more out of it. Yeah. But we have to understand that they can say anything.
To go off of what you said, I did read a few articles since that attack did happen, saying gold and Bitcoin. It's time to buy more of that. And then I read earlier today that the supply of stable coins have grown a lot. So even though people may have sold off some of their crypto or sold off some of their Bitcoin, they're holding it in stable coin instead of taking it back out of the crypto market. So the selling of stable coin has slowed down a lot in the last week.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if PayPal is holding majority of their stablecoin supply in Solana, that makes me very hopeful with that network. But they also have a good majority in Ethereum. But Blast, I got a question for you again. You've been in the game for quite some time, right?
10 years.
10. Yeah. How does war, like war to the point where you could feel it, right? Like where the U.S. is directly involved. Like we have, officially deployed and everything. I'm not sure if I don't want to say that the GWAT, days counts or not, because that was just a 20-year thing, global war and terrorism, but like a direct world war. How do you think that would affect the market?
It affects it actually in a good way.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see it. And when you were asking me that I was in this game for a while, and I always laugh because if I tell someone that just started that I've been 10 years, they go, whoa. And if I tell this to somebody that's been trading for 40 years, they go, that's nothing. You haven't seen anything. You haven't seen. I wasn't trading when the towers hit.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't trading when Bush Senior was there, and we had the Iraq with the other Bush. I wasn't trading on those 2008 maybe financial crisis. So it's a lot of stuff that others have seen. That when you say, "Hey, I have 10 years," they go like, "That's nothing. That's just a tickle. Nothing, man."
Well, yeah.
But
I was just thinking that. I was like, maybe not. When you said that.
Yeah. Like when people say, like I made $40 in the day, that could hit different to someone that just made $1.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that. So every time it's like that. That's why we always say is you versus you. Don't think about it. Like today, I make $300 and something, and I was expecting, let's say, a few trades to make $150, and that's it. Now, if you make $300, then you versus you go like that's good. That's actually a great performance. No flawless victory. No losses. All my attempts were great. I applied the strategies from Stock and Log. Each in Nissan on the SPY. Everybody that's on Elite here can go and check out the channel. We had it there. I was about to make that alert, and Semper did it. So I was like, that's it. That's kind of like it tells you like you're in the right path. But I think going back to your question, yeah, war, it affects it in a good way, but it's something that you need to learn of the dance, of the deer dance, how we call it, and the budget with the government, because government says, hey, war is actually more beneficial to us right now, so we need to put more budget into that. So we're gonna forget about environmental, forget about people that are trying to get Social Security this month or something like that. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that, it's a deer dance. They will always pay that. They will always give back to environmental, and they will always give back to Lockheed Martin and Boeing and all that are involved in war. But you've seen how the wars affect the volatility in the market, because right now we're in a big situation right now. The Ukraine and Zelensky decided to invade some parts of Russia.
Yeah.
That they go like, I'm here, kind of like F you, what you want to do, kind of thing, because it was wrong what he did. But we had in the other spectrum, we have Iran that says, hey, we're gonna have peace talks, right? And we need to start talking about peace. And by the way, the peace talks are in 2 days, August 15. They're gonna resume that. And then you go like, well, wait a second, which one is more important? Natural gas in Russia and all the crops and everything that it's wrong there, and then the things that we get from Russia and how we depend on Russia in natural gas, or is it petroleum from the Saudis and Iran and Middle East, right? So it's the two. We don't care about, and sorry to say that, but we don't care about Venezuela. All the issues that are there, all the things that are happening with that president in that country, we really don't care in a moment. And right, as a U.S., we go like, it's either Iran and Ukraine. And those, when they say we're gonna do some peace talks, the markets start running.
Did you see how? Did you see how they were trying to steal the elections, like quote unquote, like the U.S. did in some articles I got put out?
Yeah. It's insane. So, but I think going back to your question, it affects it in a good way. Every time there's that uncertainty in the war, and there's certainty, meaning peace talks, and no, we're not fighting there anymore, no more deployments, it goes up in a way that investors are more less careful that for investing. So it actually moves the market up. If you go back in history, it always affects it in a good way. War is good.
Now I heard Putin. I was reading a little article too. Putin said that, I don't know how true it is, but like he commented that peace talks are off the table for him because of Ukraine invading. So, we'll see.
Yeah, over there, definitely there's no peace talks. But Iran and Egypt and Qatar, they want to do the peace talks, and they want to make sure that they intervene in this Israel fiasco that we have, which is everybody thinks that it's been forever. This Palestine thing has been forever, man. Whoever is here, they just been living under a rock if they don't know what's happening there. And it's like you're born and it's like, hey, this is the issue we have, Israel, Palestine, and the rest, figure it out in your social studies. But
everybody's watched Don't Mess with the Zohan, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's seen that movie, right?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
That was your segue into Israeli Palestine hate.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So unless we have that calm issue, and I think that's one of the cards that Trump is gonna use. It's like, hey, I'm gonna put my son-in-law to do the peace talks there because he's just a robot, and he will make it happen. But yeah, that's one of the things that are making the investors less cautious to invest. So is going up. I think Ukraine. I think Russia is just going to be able to take that over. Russia, you have to be very careful with. So yeah, I don't know. You have more experience with that, Arthur, but yeah, Russia, you just have to make them happy, whatever they need, whatever they want. They're too big. It's a big guy. They're gonna punch me.
But I think he shows, what's the word? He shows like it starts with the R, man. Reservations,
resilience.
Yeah, like he's been holding back. Like I feel like he's been trying to keep it chill, but they say like how many times can you like poke the bear before he gets upset? But the one thing that I have noticed is when he says something, like he pretty much sticks to that. So if he says that there's no more peace, if that's a valid source, then I'm sure he does mean that. So
yeah, all we got to do is go back to our charts. Chart speaks to itself. So every time we start with back in November, where when Russia was deploying all this military tanks and everything, and everybody was like, what are you doing? It's like, no, we're just doing drills. And then all of a sudden December came in, January came in, and war started. So it's good to go back and check the charts on it. But yeah, war is always good.
Well, it's always in price action, right? I think the chart does a pretty good job of taking the guesswork out of it. You don't really have to be on edge of what's going to go on. Obviously, going into like a earnings or like a investors call event, like when Apple shows off their new products, or Tesla does a investors call, like we should expect some volatility, some big drops or some big pumps around that. But for the most part, it's always in price action first before it's in the news or anything else crazy happens. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, buy more Palantir.
Why? What's up with Palantir?
It's a war stock, in my opinion.
Well,
We had Nvidia for today's watch list on Stock Unlock. If you want to check that Nvidia watch list call and the way it played out, it was a beautiful move. If you check the Nvidia and AMD, they were set to run today, and they did, which is good. And in Nvidia, there's something that we like to call the offer line, which is the 34. So it was massively rejected back in a few days, and right now today it just went through like butter. So it was beautiful. So I think we're going to have like a change of character in this Nvidia trade, and probably by next year we're gonna be in the 150s again or up. So looks good.
sweet. All right, guys. Thank you for the market update today, Blast. Thank you for all the help.
Sorry for
No
my
doubt.
my laptop exploding again.
We gotta get you a new laptop, big dog.
Yeah, let me know. I'll send you $10 for your computer, man. So let's just do something. Everybody, please send $10
It
for
is his birthday in
It's my birthday.
3 days.
It's my birthday. I mean,
Oh, come on, man.
3 days. Let's see if we can put together a nice $20.
hopefully you bought Nero when I bought it.
Come on, man. Let's do it.
Well, it sounds like you got enough to get yourself a new laptop then.
I did actually. I mean, I'm not gonna cap. I mean, I did very well on Europe, but yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to get one when I get home.
Smoking that stuff over there. Stop smoking that stuff in Amsterdam and go get a computer, man.
I'm a sober Sally. I don't touch that shit. Arthur over here.
Okay. Arthur, hi. All right,
I
man.
might have a little bit left over, here and there.
Just give him some brownies. Give him some brownies and get a computer.
Right.
All right, guys.
Good night. Peace, everybody. Bye.